little, but I'm loud. How you doing this morning? Hey, I'm Ann Eller. Got a picture of Penny snoozing in her bed right there beside me here this morning. She really didn't want to get up this morning. I mean, she did, because she likes getting out there and doing stuff, but she really didn't want to, but she was out there licking the grass because it's all wet. You know, we did get quite a bit of rain yesterday. That's right, we sure did. In between a lot of nice sunshine, too. Did go to the Flag Day ceremony uptown Greenwood. Always nice. And thank you to the Knights of Columbus for always bringing this story of our flag to the forefront. I think sometimes we take so many things for granted that we forget about the things that are all symbols that all make us feel proud. Oh, I think we all feel proud. I think we do when we look at our flag or when we see our flag flying, whether it's here in America or across the world or even on the moon. But before we get started, let's get the weather report. Yesterday, it's been pretty darn hot. Let's see. I need Greenwood. Yes. In Paris, Maine right now, it's 64 degrees. In Greenwood, it's 75, feels like 75. And we are headed for a high today of 87. There is, I don't think, really much chance of rain. It says, what does it say? Sun and clouds sharing the day. An easy, pleasant kind of balance. Yeah, as long as it doesn't get up into the 90s, I'm with you here. So we are, like I said, I don't think we really have much chance of rain today. Let's go back and check what tomorrow's supposed to be like. Tomorrow sounds like a day I need to put aside to work outside some. High of just 76, low of 67. Overcast, a stray shower or thunderstorm is possible. Again, this is tomorrow. High of 76, low of 67. Not maybe a stray shower, but not a real downpours looking for anyways, at least at this moment. Wednesday, we pop right back up to 85 degrees, low of 73. Looks like Thursday has a 70% chance of rain with a high of 85 and a low of 71. Friday comes in there with about a 70% chance of thunder showers, etc. Friday looks like a high of 84, low of 65. It says rain showers in the morning with thunderstorms developing in the afternoon. And Saturday next week, a week away, high of 86, low of 65, but little chance of rain. So that's kind of giving you what the outlook is. If you're going to work outside, I'm going to be outside on Tuesday, high of 76, Hey, you know, Friday, the Index Journal had a nice write-up about this radio broadcaster who got a resolution from the Senate for all her keeping Greenwood informed, being there as a news source, talk show host, entertainer, who has been doing this since 2007, folks. And I got a really nice, well, I didn't say me, I said this broadcaster, this broadcaster got a really nice resolution from the Senate, from Senator Billy Garrett, about this person called the Voice of Greenwood. Well, I guess they were talking about me, because when I looked at the picture, it was me, and it was Senator Billy Garrett. I want to thank Senator Billy Garrett, of course, for bestowing this honor upon me. Many of you know we actually went down to the Senate when they read that into the record. Many of you may not realize, but they actually, anytime a resolution or proclamation, any of those type of things that are put out actually have to be read into the record. So they're there for in perpetuity. That's right. So we went down there, and it was a really great day. So I want to thank Senator Billy Garrett for preparing that and doing that for me. And I want to thank the Index Journal for running that very nice article on page 2 of Friday's paper. So thank you very, very much. So that was kind of a nice way to start off the weekend, right? And some people have said, "Wow, Ann, pretty cool." So yes, it was pretty cool. So there are all kinds of things we could talk about, and but I think the big topic that I want to delve into today is actually some information that was in Sunday's Index Journal, and it was on the Viewpoints page. Now, one viewpoint that they talked about that was actually from a group let's see, America's Newspapers is committed to explaining, defending, and advancing the vital role of newspapers in democracy and civil life. We put emphasis on educating the public on all ways that newspapers contribute to building a community, identify, and the role they play in social and economic fabric of communities across the country. And this is newspapers.org. Well, I think the same can be said with talk radio, local shows that bring information to the fore. I mean, not every day, but 3 days a week, I'm normally interviewing people that have some connection to our community, And the premise of this viewpoint is that it says for the past 2 decades there have been growing interest in funding local news organizations as local newspapers have come under increasing pressure from economy challenges and shifting media consumption patterns. Community leaders have witnessed the negative impact on civil life. Most of that support has focused primarily on launching of new initiatives, particularly nonprofit local news organizations. And I think that through the social media part, Facebook, Instagram, and this type of thing, it has allowed other news sources as such to pop up. But I think the intent of the article is to say we all need each other, whether it's the Index Journal, whether it's WCRS and Ann Eller, whether it's individual news sources that pop up. The other night at the last Monday night when the discussion was had at the Republican meeting where they discussed data centers and the upcoming issues on those. Pig News was there putting a live stream out on that. Other sources are doing all different things, and I think the bottom line to this is, just like I like to say, that radio is the glue that brings everything together, right? When you advertise, if you're advertising on WCRS and you're on social media and you're here and you're there, when somebody is riding in their car and they hear that ad, the next time they need that product, they're going to say, "Oh, yes, I heard it on WCRS. I saw it on social media. Maybe I saw it in the newspaper." Whatever you saw it or heard it, I like to say that WCRS is the glue. We kind of hold everything together. Well, newspapers are community criers for what happens in our community. And I think that one of the things that is happening with newspapers is that if a newspaper is going to be viable, it is being held to higher standards, just as TV news is being held to higher standards. For too long, there's been too much waffling back and forth about where the editorial in just a news article happened. But the very fact of having straight news, of being able to celebrate events or festivals or other things that happen in our community, the good, the bad, the coverage for DJ Keller, for example, from the Index Journal, the coverage for Calhoun Falls and all that was going on down there. The Freedom of Information Acts. I just wanted to bring this up because I thought it was a well-timed article. And the bottom line is old sources, newspapers, radio, a modern source that still is there and is still very, very popular because at some point during the day, most people are in their cars, most people are doing something and they hear the radio. And then the upstart news organizations, the person that just wants to go out and cover certain things or somebody that's concerned about covering it all. All of these have a place. But the one thing we shouldn't do is cast aside those that have been around forever, like the Index Journal, like WCRS Radio. All of those make a complete package. So with that being said, I think that there is room for everybody, and we shouldn't cut ourselves off. And people consume news at different times of the day. Different things hit their attention. Scrolling on Facebook is like a constant way, but there is something about having these sources that you can depend on. Okay. So that is just my story that I wanted to cover on that. But then there's more. That's right. There is more. The more is Russ Fitzgerald. And I actually have mentioned him a couple of times in our discussion about a moratorium. And he wrote an op-ed in the Index Journal. Really, it is the same as he wrote it on Facebook, except maybe more expanded. He did cover some other parts of this, which I thought were interesting points that I want to get to in a minute. So Russ Fitzgerald had a guest column in the Index Journal. And then under the Voice of the People, Gary Gunderson had a comment about data centers. So I wanted to tie this all together along with a new news article about a data center that is not going into Marion County. So I think the whole thing about all of this is, I want to say that I am, and I know a lot of people are very pleased that they have put a Tuesday, tomorrow night, will be introduced an amendment. This was brought forth by Kathy Miller, Dane Pruitt, and Mark Allison, who are all county council members, to set forth getting to a moratorium to be able to study and make sure that if we open the doors to a data center into Greenwood County, South Carolina, that we have our eyes wide open, we have our I's dotted and our T's crossed, instead of hastily putting a text amendment in place. I think that it took a lot for county council to come forth to do this. I think it is great that they have. 3 members say that they are firmly in the court of voting for the moratorium as they are bringing it up. So it will take, it'll just be introduced on Tuesday. What will there be, a first or second reading? Anyways, it's a process to get to. They're not supposed to be bringing up the text amendment for the amendment to allow data centers with some restrictions that are not maybe, well, they're not to maybe the specifications that would protect the folks. Might be okay for the data centers, but it doesn't protect the folks. So, with that being said, I'd like to cover a little bit about what Russ Fitzgerald said. Now, Russ Fitzgerald is a retired library technician who worked for Lander University for 32 years. Before that, he was a staff writer for the Daily Sun in Warner Robins, Georgia, where he covered city government and police. So I think you would have to say he is familiar with covering city beats, such as they may be. And I think I'm going to reverse this. I think actually I'm going to bring up what Gary Gunderson said. Voice of the people. Thank you, Greenwood County Council. They probably will be framing this one from Gary Gunderson, because it says, hopefully, thank you, Greenwood County. I'm just going to read it. It's very short. This is from Gary Gunderson. Hopefully someone will be fortunate enough to sell land to get a data center in the county. It will provide a lot of jobs and facilitate us being the home of leading-edge technology. We don't need a moratorium. We need to facilitate an opportunity. It's not generally true that local power bills increase as a result and water is recycled internally. I doubt we will be selected, but it would be great if we did. Don't do anything to make it harder. That was Gary Gunderson, and that is an op-ed, Voice of the People in Sunday's paper. Now, interesting. On the other end of the table is this moratorium on data centers is necessary as is open due diligence. That is the article from Russ Fitzgerald. And I'm not going to read the whole thing. I'm going to read a little bit. Local data center opponents should be cheered by Greenwood County Council's decision to schedule the first reading of an ordinance creating a 12-month moratorium on data centers. It's not the 24 months we wanted, but something, and it's now scheduled for the next council meeting tomorrow, June 16th. The second reading of Ordinance 2026-25 to establish a moratorium will happen July 7th. The same day, the council will hold the third reading of the 2026-19, the text amendment for the ordinance creating conditions for data centers. And then it goes on and it says that a second reading is great, but you still need that third reading to get to a moratorium. I think one of the things that is happening here is more and more information is coming out on both sides. And this is a good thing. Because we do need transparency. We do need to know what is happening. It's just like it was very much of a struggle to find out that 3 different companies had inquired about putting a data center in Greenwood County. We didn't need to know. We, the people, didn't know what the name of the company, what the deal was, where they were going. We just needed to know that there had been inquiries. County council meetings are a 2-week schedule. This is again from Russ Fitzgerald. My money is on interested parties signing contracts July 8th, rendering the moratorium moot. This is an issue. If they go forth with the text amendment on July 7th, which is when they will have third reading. I think there is another possibility here, and I'm not really sure where it leaves us with a moratorium coming down the pike. Where does that actually leave us? It is, in my opinion, conceivable 2 things could happen. One, that the text amendment We already know we have 3 individuals who are introduced the moratorium. So are they likely to vote for the text amendment? That is my question. And would one more person on county council be likely to side with the moratorium or stay with the text amendment? Those are all questions that are balls that we should say are in the air. I think if I was putting my money on people to potentially break rank with county council, I would be surprised. I would be surprised if Theo Lane changed his vote, since he's been very much a proponent of it. I would be surprised, and again, this is just my personal opinion. Having seen some of this in action, I would be surprised if Joanna Bishop changed her opinion. She could. I think she is very much in the court of the for the text amendment to allow data centers with the things that they have put forth. That does, and then we have our 3 who are not interested in it, and that is Kathy Miller at this point. Now, they could swing the other way, so there's no guarantee, but you've got Kathy Miller, Mark Allison, and Dane Pruitt. That leaves Robbie Templeton and Miss Griffin. And those are the 2 that may have some sway. That's how I see it laying out. I don't know which way this is going to go. If they truly have a company that is interested in opening a data center, would we see this data center amendment passed or not passed? And would a data center try to come in here before the moratorium could get in effect to educate and to learn about, if we're going to have data centers in Greenwood County, do we want them? I think that is a possibility. However, I want to point to something else that I discovered in doing more research for this. I have spent a lot of time doing research, and I know a lot of different people have spent a lot of time doing research. But this is an article that I think maybe ties the whole thing together. Just over the weekend, developer pulls plug on $2.4 billion data center in rural South Carolina. This is a story that has been winding its way through the system. But it says plans for a $2.4 billion data center that left PD residents fuming after local elected officials hastily approved tax breaks for the secretive development have been scrapped. Stream Data Centers announced on its website that Project Liberty will not be moving forward in rural Marion County. Unfortunately, because utility power cannot be sourced on this site within the required time frame, Stream is unable to proceed with development at this location, the Dallas-based company said. While this site offers strong development fundamentals, what matters most to Stream is the community itself. The project riled up local residents. They felt blindsided after Marion County Council approved tax incentives for the company in January, while the PD area was bracing for a rare snowstorm, and without initially identifying Project Liberty as a data center because of a non-disclosure agreement. The pushback led to 2 packed public meetings in late February where the community was invited to ask questions and voice their concerns about all the different aspects, water, electricity, etc. The sessions included representatives from Stream, the South Carolina Department of Commerce, and the South Carolina Department of Environmental Services, but no elected officials. I thought that was interesting. The United People Project, which opposed the data center, said it celebrates the developer's decision to cancel Project Liberty. The outcome reflects our community's ability to organize and residents coming together to demand transparency and accountability. That's what they wrote in their June social media post. So that was the United People Project of Marion County. So, what do you think about that? Stream Data Center said is deeply committed to being a good neighbor and a responsible developer. The company added that it distributes all funds it had committed to local organizations that support after-school programs. Of course, they're trying to put themselves in good places, and we all know that many large companies, whether it's this company or our companies here locally, some of our bigger companies, particularly our bigger companies, although small companies too, but big companies have the ability to support endeavors here in our community. We've seen it many times where they have come through. Those companies, particularly, I'll use some of the companies that are veteran-centered, like to contribute to causes for veterans. So large companies can be very good for our community as far as being community partners. And so that is part of it. So it says, Stream Data said it's deeply committed to being a good neighbor and responsible developer. The company added that it distributes all funds it had committed and that supported after school, library resources, and other community initiatives. Those are points that actually have been made by County Council, how having the large data center here in Greenwood would be good for our tax base and this type of thing. Never mind that we had not taken into account in a large way or to the people's satisfaction about the noise, the electricity, all these type of issues. Stream's long development plans for the PD called for up to 9 buildings on about 400 acres in an industrial park on U.S. Highway 501 bypass. The cost of the first phase was about $800 million. If fully built out, the data center site would have required a $2.4 billion investment created, and here's the thing, $2.4 billion investment created 60 permanent jobs. That's it, 60 permanent jobs for 2.4, and that was at full completion. So who knows how much their first one would actually have for jobs. It says, and it then generated $28 million in annual tax revenue, according to the county. So again, this is where we stand on data centers. There has to be a coming together of the community and of the data center. We've seen this now where a data center was scheduled in Spartanburg County. Such uprising from the residents that they went north. I think they went to North Carolina. I'm not sure, but that was the conversation at the time. Who knows where they may have landed. So the bottom line is there should be transparency. There should not be this executive sessions in our own county council that start at 4 o'clock every time they meet twice a month from 4 to 5:30. And then coming forth to the public. Now, I know that when Theo Lane took over as chairman of county council, due to my constant harping on this fact, he did make an attempt, but they still meet every for an hour and a half every time in executive session, which means nobody else is privy to that. I don't know about you, and this is my personal opinion on county council. I think sometimes they come out too united. There is not enough discussion for the public's liking, or my liking for that matter, about what they discussed. They just seemed to vote and move forward. So, again, I would like to see less behind the curtain, more in front of the curtain, right here in our own county council. So I guess the bottom line is we have all different views here. We have everything from Gary Gunderson saying, heck yeah, build it, bring the folks in, it'll create a lot of high-paying jobs. I think Gary is not up to speed on that, because I don't believe it creates that many jobs. They may be good jobs, but they are not a lot of jobs. They certainly won't move the needle forward for our community with a job employer. Okay, that's fine. But that is something. 60 jobs on a $2.4 billion project in Marion does not sound like very many jobs for 400 acres of data centers. That just shows they don't need much help on these things once they get them up and rolling. Now, building them, that of course is a different story. All right, I would love to get your input. 864-332-9355. That's 864-332-9355. Anybody been commenting on what we're saying here this morning? No. Nobody's commenting. What is going on here? You can comment. We are live on Facebook Live at WCRS Radio. You can also let me know at, that number, 864-332-9355, 864-332-9355. So let me know what you're feeling about what I've discussed. Have I been fair and balanced, trying to give you all sides of this? Excuse me. I'm trying to be. I think it's important that we hear everybody's side. I'm not sure that what rises on the right side of this issue, or who exactly is right on this issue. I'm not sure. It says Greenwood, going back to Russ Fitzgerald, and then we're going to leave this topic. Secrecy in business is usually in economic development, but data centers are not like other industries, and AI data centers even more so. There are so many questions about health and environmental risk, cost, habitat damage, resource management that need answers. Again, this is from Russ Fitzgerald in the Index Journal. Greenwood County Council should do what citizens, our County Planning Commission, state representatives, John McCravey, this newspaper, and the Southern Environmental Law Center have all called for. Hold all 3 readings of the ordinance for the moratorium first. Hold all 3 readings of the ordinance for the moratorium first. Ordinance 2026-19, that is the text amendment for having rules for a data center, does not need to be passed at this time. Ordinance 2026-25, that is for the moratorium. Shielded by a moratorium, we can then fully explore how and if data centers are compatible with how we wish to live our lives in this beautiful place we call home. Again, that was from Russ Fitzgerald. We just saw up the street in Newberry how they put a moratorium, and a data center that was looking to come there is not coming there right now. So this is an important issue. Tomorrow evening in County Council, they will be putting forth this moratorium. Now, I'm not sure with what Russ Fitzgerald said, and this is a question I have. Could they rush through the moratorium by doing first, second, and third reading in one meeting? I don't know. He seems to kind of indicate that could be done. I don't know the law, but we can certainly check it out. I can tell you my personal feeling. I think my personal feeling is what the rush. Not what the, but what the rush. We don't need to go ahead and do something that we cannot undo. And once you let a data center in here, you cannot undo it. So I think that having data centers, having the moratorium is the smart decision. We'll see tomorrow night where county council is on this. That moratorium amendment will be introduced. Can it be speeded up? I don't know. We'll have to check that out. That is a good idea. Anyways, Russ Fitzgerald, thank you for taking your time to put that in succinct language. And as a former newspaper writer, I guess we can understand why you can do that. And Gary Gunderson, thank you for your input. You provided a good shield to the other side. So thank you very much for that. We have a lot of meetings coming up while we're at it. City Council meets tonight. I think their meeting is at 5:30. They will be ready to go with their meeting, and it will be on Facebook Live under Greenwood City. Tonight also, this is a trifecta of meetings. Tonight also is the school board meeting. That one you can go to GWD District 50 and find the way if you don't want to go, if you just would like to watch it. You certainly can do that. And third, on Tuesday evening, will be county council meetings. So for those of you that like being in the know about this, join me, or I'll watch them. It's okay. I'll watch them and keep you updated. All right, let's talk about some of the other things that are out there real quick. Let's see, what else we got here? Penny's got her head on my shoulder. Okay, we just heard that it does require 3 readings. Well, the only thing I questioned to the person that asked that, and that's why I don't know whether there is any ability to speed it up, is Mr. Fitzgerald had said, what did he say? That have a speeded up thing on it. So that's why I hold all 3 readings of the ordinance for a moratorium first. So I don't know. Can you hold that and just hold the other one in abeyance? Or would you have to turn it down? See, I'm not sure what he exactly is meaning. But I'm sure tomorrow evening we'll find out more about it. And I appreciate each and everybody who listens and inputs comments here. This has certainly been an issue for our community, and we've seen it at the different meetings, and I'm sure we will see it again before the final vote. So, there you go. All right, now, moving on to talk about a few other things here this morning. We've talked about all that. Now, now. The UFC fight was last night on President Trump's birthday. It was heralded as a knockout event. No, I don't know. I just made that up. I didn't get to see any of it. I haven't seen any of the clips from it, but I understand it was quite an event. I do know that they had to stop it while a thunderstorm came over because it actually was an outside event. I don't think we've seen anything as fascinating as that going on just from local interest. President Trump has said that they have a deal with Iran. The Strait of Hormuz is supposed to be open by Friday. Supposedly, Iran is going to be removing all the I'm going to say bombs. That's probably not the right word, but the things that could explode, kind of like bombs, from the Strait of Hormuz. So that will open. They supposedly are signing this deal on Friday. Don't you find it interesting? On President Trump's 80th birthday that this was announced. I only hope and pray that this truly is a true deal, meaning that Iran will go through with this, or is this another stall technique? I think a lot of people have some skepticism about that. So is this we'll have to wait and see. And what happens in these next 5 days, I think, are critical to watch. President Trump has said that for this whole agreement to hold, the United States, I guess, will go in and get the uranium out of the hills if they don't have it anywhere else. But do we all trust the fact that Iran doesn't have a secret stash somewhere else? I seem to remember somewhere in the conversation that they had stashed some and were going ahead. Have they still been going ahead? Have they not been going ahead? And then, of course, there's these little flare-ups that we have. A helicopter, a U.S. helicopter shot out of the sky. Fortunately, our pilots and everything were okay. But we see these little things happening. So the question is it truly happening? I tell you what, the oil markets seem to think that it's happening because the price of crude just went from wherever it was, close to $90 a barrel, 94, 95, something like that, down to $83 a barrel. Don't know what we'll see during the day, but I think the words trust but verify come through my mind. So, while we would like to see this, we are hopeful that it is true. The price of gas does seem to be coming down. But will they actually sign on the line? Will they sign in blood? Do you remember when you were when you used to do the blood brother, blood sisters, and you put a little cut in your finger, and then you put your fingers together, and now you were blood brothers or blood sisters forever? Yes. Well, will they sign it in blood? I could tell you a great story about that, but I'm not going to. I'm going to try to stay here. You'll have to stay tuned to hear a great story, Jeff Eller's story about signing in blood. I must write that down because it is a great story early on in our business adventures. Our business adventures. Okay, so That was that. What else did we have here? I had all these stories. Where'd they go? I just wanted to mention them again. Let's see. I see all this stuff about me. What the heck? So the Iran, the UFC. Oh, the Knicks won. Won the championship for the NBA, and New York City went crazy. You know, it'd be really nice if they went crazy in a positive sense. But it seems like some people just can't help themselves when it comes to tearing stuff down. It's just ridiculous. But anyways, the Knicks won. That was, congratulations. What's that been, 30 years or something? The USA on Friday night won their first in the series in the FIFA tournaments against Paraguay, 4-1. What a huge victory. Right, Penny? Yes, it was. Did you watch it? No, I didn't. She goes, but if you'd let me play soccer, I'd be out there getting that ball for everybody. Absolutely. So that was a huge one. What do they play? This coming Friday night, they play Australia. Australia just came off a win. So we'll see where that goes. Since these are being played in the United States, I know that there is a high anticipation of the USA and community and national pride, which I think is so great. So, just a couple of things that I want to make sure that you know about. Coming up, where is it? Coming up this evening at the museum. Yes, here we go. At the museum tonight, as part of their series on the road to the revolution, they are having another speaker. Francis Salvador and commerce presentation, Ed, and I know I'm gonna butcher his name, Poltakov, was born and raised in Abbeville, South Carolina, near Salvador's Corn Acre, a retired partner in Nelson Mullins, Riley, and Scarborough. He practiced law in Columbia, South Carolina for 50 years. He's a graduate of Harvard and Georgetown University Law Center, past president of the Jewish Historical Society of South Carolina. Articles written by Ed have been published in the magazine of the Jewish Historical Society of South Carolina, including his article on Francis Salvador and the Journal of the International Map Collection Society. Ed's activities include historical research, collecting antique South Carolina maps, and serving as trustees of the Dr. Samuel Poltikoff Collection of Western Art at Abbeville Public Library. So they're going to be talking about Francis Salvador and the Cornacre Plantation. Francis Salvador really had a huge role here, and should be a great program tonight. They're doing four lectures. They had the one last week, this week, and then two more. I also want to mention that the museum is really coming on strong with their Road to the Revolution exhibit that is going on. This would be a great time to go to the library. Wednesday, they are open tonight for this event, which is at 5:30 to 7 p.m. So that'll be going on tonight. The library is open Wednesday through Saturday from 10 to 5:30. I would highly recommend going by there, taking the kids to enjoy it. But I also want to remind you of another event that's going to be coming up on the Friday before the 4th. Well, it's June 26th. June 26th, so actually it's the week before the week of the 4th. At the museum from 10:30 to 12. Karen Petit, who is the Issaquena Regent chapter, who's written a book about her dog Louie and his travels through history about celebrating America. So they're going to have a fun time for children at the museum. That will be on the 26th, educational as well as fun. They'll get to make a tricord hat. They'll get a goodie bag. She's going to read sections from her book. And most importantly, Louis, her Bichon Frise dog, will be there, and he is quite a card. So put that on your calendar for the 26th. This is all about a road to the revolution and how it moved through Greenwood, South Carolina. So check out the exhibit. By the way, if you go to the exhibit at the museum once, you're probably going to have to go back in a month or so because it will be constantly changing and evolving over this next. It's going to be there for at least 6 months, I think. I'm not sure exactly of the date, but 6 months, and it's going to be evolving. So it's all upstairs, very well done. Their new person that is doing all the displays and research and everything is really making the revolution come to life. His name is Danny. I don't know Danny's last name, but he is doing an excellent job. So I think that's about it. The question is, what would Greenwood lose if there was no Index Journal, no WCRS, no local reporters? They'd lose a lot, because nobody covers local like the local parts of our community, and having people that work for these organizations who are passionate about what they do. So again, thank you again for tuning in. Don't forget, Ann, I almost forgot. Coming up this afternoon, Cody Simpson at 4 o'clock. We'll be doing a pop-up interview right here on WCRS. He is one of the two in the runoff election for agricultural commissioner. So Danny Ford, we haven't been able to get a hold and get him on the air, but Cody is going to be here from 4 to 4:30. On the election aspect, you can count on me, however, to get a lot of these people on. We are going to have both Evett and Wilson on this week. And we are also, tomorrow afternoon, we are going to be, no, not tomorrow, Wednesday afternoon, we'll have Anthony Price in the first of his series on brain health on. So I got a packed week, and we'll be talking more about it. Just did want to remind you about the pop-up interview today at 4 with Cody Simpson, who is one of the two in the runoff, which is coming up on the 23rd. And there will be early voting. I have to get you that. I don't remember right off the bat. Early voting is only this week. The election is next Tuesday, so a week from tomorrow. So it's a fast one, folks. Hey, I'm Ann Eller. This is WCRS Radio. Penny, are you bored? I'm bored. Why do you keep on talking all the time? Let's get the heck out of here. Okay, Penny, I agree. Here we go. We're going to drop the curtain, Penny. There you go. We're going to cue the music, Penny. Yes, we are. And we're going to say adieu. I'll be back at 4 today. This is an unscheduled, so that's why it's called a pop-up. Bye-bye, everybody.